While Overwatch 2 itself just came out, the big thing is there's a lot of people who are already amazing at this game, and that's because Overwatch itself is an old game and the base mechanics are still the same from Overwatch 1. It's basically just a huge update, and the big thing here is the swing to free-to-play has let open the floodgates to a lot of new players. And if you're watching this, I'm going to assume that you are a new player. So take it from me, who has some experience on Overwatch. Even if I'm not the top 1% of players, I'm going to be covering a lot of the basics and a lot of little niche tips to hopefully improve your game sense and ability to climb the ranked ladder. The first thing that I don't see pushed enough, actually it's kind of the opposite. A lot of people believe that Overwatch 2 removed counters, but this is a game where you can swap heroes mid-game, and you're gonna want to pay attention to that. If you're playing tank role and the Diva's being a menace, maybe switching to Zarya in order to beam through her defense matrix is a smart idea. If the enemy Genji is crazy good, and again, you're playing the tank role, maybe switch to Winston and pick that fight because Genji cannot fight the monkey on his own. It's just a fact. That's the big thing. Counters are still a part of the game, and focusing your counter on the biggest menace on the opposing team is important. If you're getting completely destroyed as support, maybe play a support who can move around more, especially if that destruction is again coming, let's say, from an enemy Genji. Choose what is the problem and what's the best way to approach the solution. Counters exist, counters are needed, and counters are kind of required in this game, despite popular belief that they got, quote, removed from Overwatch 2. They're still present, they're still important, and I think this will come with game knowledge. Study counters, study your enemies, and make those adjustments as the game goes on. The next big thing is the scoreboard. Now, it was added not just to flame your healer for not healing you or go off and show that you're the top DPS of the lobby. No. It is an information powerhouse, and you should be using that to your advantage. Here's the two biggest one. The first one is the ultimate charges of your teammates. If you're Roadhog, for example, you want to pop your ult, play super aggressive on the front line, maybe wait it out if your Ana's ultimate is at 81% or 91%. Just a little bit more communicating with that Ana to power your two ultimates together is going to be a lot better than wasting your ult and then Ana just kind of nano boosts someone random. Communication is key and teamwork is key, and the more information you have, the less resistance teamwork becomes, right? You don't got to ask the Ana when's your ultimate charge, then try to plan. You hit tab, you know, you communicate, you play. Keeping it simple is the best way to ensure success, at least in my opinion. The second thing is the respawn timer. The respawn timer is crazy good information. If you get a pick, let's say on the enemy Sombra, please nerf her, please nerf her, please. Let's say on the enemy Sombra, right? You pick off the enemy Sombra. That's a huge amount of information on who will be in your backline. Are your healers safe? How long are they safe for? With the enemy Sombra down, they're that much safer for X amount of time, and that time is shown on the scoreboard. If Sombra is down for 12 seconds, it might be a good time to push in for an all-out team fight, knowing that none of you will be hacked. You know that you have 12 seconds to ult and not get hacked as Genji mid-ult. That is insane information. You gotta use that information to your advantage. Another basic I wanna cover, but man, I am sure you guys are gonna click away and avoid it, but please, it is so important, I beg you, is positioning. Please, you need to learn your positioning. No matter what role you are, learning positioning is so freaking important. Okay, let's say you're a tank, all right, my man? You're a tank. If both healers are full blast healing you as a tank, it doesn't matter how much healing you get. It doesn't matter how tanky you are. You could even be nano boosted on top of that. If you have poor position, you will still get bursted. You will still die. There's nothing anyone else can do for you if your positioning is bad. So you're gonna have to fix it, and you're gonna have to fix it fast. And man, all the tank mains in the comments know I'm right already. The thing is, without decent positioning, you're gonna get completely messed up. This goes for DPS, since you guys are just as bad as well as support. If you're support, make sure you're keeping cover, don't only rely on your tank to save you, and make sure you're playing smart against the enemies. If both DPSs are picked, you can play behind your tank more comfortably. If both DPSs are still alive, not only should you be playing behind your tank, but stay near cover and have an escape plan, be it Kiriko's teleport or Mercy's flyaway. Keep it off cooldown until needed. Don't use it just continuously to move around and then get caught off guard. Positioning is important. If you're the DPS, make sure if you're flanking at an appropriate time. If you flank when you're the last one alive, you're most likely going to die on an off respawn and then leave your team to have a 4v5 in just a little moment later. Only flank if you're going to pick someone off and also have an escape plan, right? That positioning matters a lot. And for tanks, obviously I already covered it, but stay near cover so you can actually get healed and not popped immediately. Positioning. Another thing that kind of goes off of positioning, in my opinion, is kind of sticking to a role for a little while. So let's say you're new and you haven't played Overwatch 1 for a long time, and you want to choose between being a tank, a supporter, or a DPS. There's nothing to say you can't be good at all three eventually, nothing to say you can't play ranked in each role eventually depending on your mood that day. That's not what I'm saying. It's kind of a very fun part of Overwatch, having those three things be super distinct. However, just for the sake of improving as fast as possible and having your game sense improve as fast as possible, I would kind of pick a role that you gravitate towards and double down. Let's say you're support, because I just mentioned all the positioning for supports, DPS, and tanks are very different in my opinion, and the more you practice on a single role, the better you'll get. I did a video where I played Curios for only 7 days, and within 7 days, I doubled my critical hit accuracy. That's just the nature of playing one thing over and over, and then it'll let you, let's say I played Curios for 7 days, then let me play Zenyatta for 7 days, etc., until I cover the whole support roster, understand the counters and counter picks within the support, understand how I survive depending on the team comp, decide how I position depending on the hero that I play, etc., and when I have a good idea on how the whole support category works, I can then move on to tank or DPS if I so wish to. Alright, the last two are a little bit more minor, but I would say they're very, very important. One is a small little mechanic. Make sure you understand that when you crouch, you cut out footsteps. Footsteps are very important, especially if you're the last alive or the last two alive and there's still 5 people available. You need to retreat in order to match your team at respawn, regroup. If you cut your sound, which is by holding control by crouching, cutting sound equal cutting information, allowing you to play sneaky. Or better yet, if 5 of you want to all flank and get some pick from the side before initiating a 4 vs 5, which is a very valid strategy, using crouch to get around is more important, because if you're all sprinting around, I mean, the entire enemy will hear you. It's freaking obvious, and this is so abusive on low elo, because for some reason low elo sound just rarely matters. I don't know why. So yeah, cut that sound, cut that information, flank all crouching, get a pick, initiate on a 5v4. It's gonna go a very, very long way. But anyways, last but very much not least, this is important. Please follow it. Don't tilt Q, okay? If you just went on a losing streak in rank, take a break. Play some arcade, play some Cassidy one shot, go practice your Widow aim train, or just play some quick play. But I would even recommend arcade and just degrade it all the way to having fun, or exit the game. Don't tilt Q, because 1 loss can lead to 2, getting you more mad, leading to 3, and you spiral, like the doom scrolling on social media. You keep scrolling even though it's mindless. You'll basically end up going from mindful Overwatch gameplay to mindless Overwatch gameplay, where you're no longer improving, ranking up, or winning, or even having a good time. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys today.